Hello students, I welcome you all to the fourth session of electricity. In the previous session, you learnt how to solve the problems, isn't it? So now we shall continue with the theory part of the lesson. Answers for the questions asked in the previous session. What is electric circuit? A continuous conducting path consisting of wires and other electrical components between the two terminals of a battery or a cell along which electric current flows is called electric circuit. State Ohm's law, and the answer is, at a constant temperature, the current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference across its ends. Next one, define resistance. The property of a conductor due to which it opposes the flow of current through it is called resistance. Next one, what is resistivity? Resistivity is the measure of resisting power of a specified material to the flow of an electric current, and its SI unit is ohm meter. In today's session, you are going to learn resistivity of alloys and combination of resistances, that is when they are connected in series and when they are connected in parallel. Dear students, you should be knowing that resistivity of a substance does not depend on its length or thickness. It depends on the nature of the substance and the temperature of the substance. The resistivity of a substance is its characteristic property. So what can you say from this? We can use the resistivity values of various substances to compare the resistances of two or more substances. Now, before we move on to the next concept, that is resistivity of alloys, you should be knowing what these alloys are. An alloy is a combination of metals or metals combined with one or more other elements. Example, silver combined with copper produces sterling silver, and silver combined with gold produces white gold. What is the intention in making alloys? The main purpose is to give greater strength or resistance to corrosion. It also increases the strength of the metal by making it an alloy. For example, steel is very much stronger than iron. Steel is an alloy of iron. I told you all, steel is stronger than iron. Do you know how many times it is stronger? Strength of the steel can be 1000 times stronger than iron in its purest form. That is the purpose steel is produced. When carbon is mixed with iron, it produces steel, and steel is very, very strong compared to iron. You can see here. You can see few alloys here like steel, bronze and brass. Steel is a combination of iron, which is a metal, and carbon, which is a non-metal. So the alloy made by using iron and carbon gives you steel. Bronze. Bronze is an alloy which is a combination of copper and tin. Both copper and tin are metals. The combination of copper and tin in particular proportion will give bronze. Brass. Brass is a mixture of copper and zinc. Students, you should also be knowing that alloy forms of gold are also there. If you have heard when your parents are speaking about 22 carat, 18 carat, 24 carat gold, you should be wondering, isn't it, what is this different types of numbers. They are all different alloys of gold. Pure form of gold is 24 karat gold. That is why whenever you see something very pure or very good, you say 24 karat, isn't it? So gold, when it is 24 karat, it is a metal. It is pure form of gold. When it is 22 karat, it will have the combination of these metals which you can see on the screen. That means the percentage of gold is only 91.6. Did you read on the gold jewelry shops 916 gold? That is nothing but 91.6 percentage of gold, and the remaining percentage will be of silver, copper and zinc. The combination of these three along with gold. So this will give you yellow gold, which is ornamental gold. Why it is done so? Because the pure form of gold is very soft. To give the strength to the ornaments, it is mixed with these metals. And there are other forms also. 18 karat gold, which is red gold, rose gold, pink gold and white gold. In this case, gold percentage is only 75% and the other metals like copper, silver and platinum will be mixed. Usually 18 karat gold is used for diamond jewelry. All of us know diamond is very hard. So, to fix the diamond to the gold, gold should also have more strength. To increase the strength of the gold, copper and silver are mixed like this, so that it becomes little harder. Dear students, observe the table here. Name of the material and the resistivity of that material is given here. You can see various conductors which are almost metals, alloys and insulators. If you can observe clearly, the resistivity of conductors is very less because you can see 10 power with negative. So 10 power minus 8, 10 power minus 8, 10 power minus 6 and so on. And that of alloys, it has a bigger number with 10 power minus 6, isn't it? So 49 into 10 power minus 6, 44 into 10 power minus 6, like this. And coming to insulators, the resistivity is very, very high. You can see it is in positive powers. So what can you say from this? The resistivity of conductors is very less and insulators it is very high. Alloys also have high resistivity. Therefore, it is clear to you all that good conductor of electricity should have low resistivity and a bad conductor or a poor conductor of electricity should have high resistivity. Metals are good conductors of electricity, therefore their resistivities are very less. The resistivity of alloy is much higher than that of the pure metal. Hope it is clear to you all. Now you will be learning why alloys are used as heating elements in electrical appliances. The heating elements or heating coils which are used to produce heat, for example electric iron, toaster, electric kettle, room heaters, water heaters, etc. The heating element in these appliances are made up of alloys rather than a pure metal because the resistivity of an alloy is much higher than that of a pure metal. Also, alloy will not undergo oxidation easily. That means it will not burn easily even at high temperatures. These are the two reasons why alloys are used as heating elements in heating appliances. For example, nichrome. Nichrome is an alloy. Nichrome has very high resistivity, due to which the heating element made of nichrome has a high resistance and produces a lot of heat on passing the current. Also, nichrome will not undergo oxidation. That means it will not burn easily even at high temperature. Due to this, nichrome wire can be kept red hot without burning. Dear students, you must have observed so many electrical appliances. Do you think they all require the same amount of current to work? Few appliances may require less supply of current, whereas few appliances may require more supply of current. And there are few more appliances where a varied supply of current is required. For example, your electric fan. If you keep regulating, you can increase from 1 speed to 5 speed, isn't it? So you can vary the supply of electricity. But how are you able to vary that? Resistance, isn't it? So when you increase resistance, the flow of current will be reduced. Whereas when you decrease resistance, the flow of current will be more. But how can you achieve this? How can you make the resistance more and how can you make the resistance less? You will be learning that now. When you combine resistances in series and combine resistance in parallel, you will be getting different types of resistances, that is more resistance and less resistance. Observe the diagram here. R1 and R4 are combined back to back. That means they are in series. Observe R5 and RA, they both are connected in parallel combination. Now we will study in which combination will have less resistance and in which combination will have more resistance. The first combination of resistances what you are going to study is resistances in series. Observe the diagram here. There are 3 resistors connected back to back, that is they are connected in series. And the potential difference across each resistance is different. That means the current flowing through the circuit remains same, whereas the potential difference across each resistor is different. This is when the resistances are combined in series. The second combination is resistances in parallel. Observe the diagram here. There are 3 resistors here, that is R1, R2 and R3. They are connected in parallel. What happens when the resistors are connected in parallel like this? The current gets divided among 3 resistors, that is R1 will have I1 supply, R2 will have I2, that is current supply is different for R2, and current supply for R3 is I3. Current gets divided among the resistors, whereas the potential difference remains constant because the starting and ending point of all the 3 resistors are same because they are connected in parallel. So the potential difference remains same. So you should be remembering, when resistors are connected in parallel, current gets divided whereas potential difference remains same. So dear students, please remember that in case of series, that is when resistors are connected in series, current remains constant and potential difference is divided for every resistor. And when the resistors are connected in parallel, potential difference remains constant and the current gets divided for every resistor. Now, you should be getting a question like this. In which combination will we get more resistance and in which combination will we get less resistance? Isn't it? You will be learning that now. The first combination what you are going to learn is resistances in series. You can see the circuit diagram here. 3 resistors are connected in series. This is only for your derivation and seeing the formula purpose. So any number of resistors can be connected in series. For our convenience, we are taking 3 resistors and we shall see what will be the resultant resistance when it is connected in series. So according to the diagram, let R1, R2 and R3 be the 3 resistors connected in series, that is back to back. As I told you all, the voltage is going to be divided for each resistor. You can see for R1 the voltage is V1. Do you remember what is voltage? Voltage is nothing but potential difference. And for R2 the potential difference is V2, and for R3 it is V3. So voltage is not constant, it is getting divided for every resistor, and the current remains same. The same current will be flowing throughout the circuit. So what is being divided here? Voltage, isn't it? So the total voltage in this circuit, you can find it like this. That is, V is equal to V1 plus V2 plus V3. All of you know what is Ohm's law, isn't it? What is V according to Ohm's law? V is equal to IR. But in this circuit, what is constant? I is constant. R is different and V is different. There are 3 different voltages and 3 different resistors. So this equation, which is taken as equation number 1, will become like this. So in the place of V, that is in LHS, we shall write it as IRS. Why RS? Because we are calculating the resistances in series. So for our convenience, we can write it as RS. And V1 can be written as IR1, V2 can be written as IR2, and V3 can be written as IR3. Now observe in the RHS, what is common in all the 3 terms? I is common, isn't it? So take that I as common. So what will be remaining? R1 plus R2 plus R3. Write it inside the brackets. Now if you observe, we have I in LHS, I in RHS, and both are related with multiplication symbol with the other terms. So what can you do? You can cancel, isn't it? So after cancellation, we will be having this. That is, RS is equal to R1 plus R2 plus R3. So it is clear that when resistors are connected in series, the total resistance is equal to the sum of the individual resistors combined. So this will be your formula to find out the equivalent resistance when resistors are connected in series. Depending upon the number of resistors, you will write them individually, inserting plus sign in between. This is how you calculate equivalent resistance when resistors are connected in series. The second combination what you are going to learn is resistances in parallel. Look at the diagram here. 3 resistors are connected in parallel. That is, R1, R2 and R3 are connected in parallel. If you can observe here, what is getting divided and what is remaining constant? I had told you all, isn't it? Current gets divided for each resistor and the voltage remains constant for all the resistors because they are connected in parallel. So the total current will be equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. You can take it as I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. So all of you know Ohm's law, isn't it? What is the equivalent value of I? I is equal to V by R, isn't it? Now we shall replace that in this equation, that is I is equal to I1 plus I2 plus I3. Replace I with V by R. In the LHS, we shall write it as V by RP because we are calculating the resistances in parallel, isn't it? So we shall write it as RP. So V by RP is equal to V by R1 plus V by R2 plus V by R3 because I1 will be equal to V by R1, I2 will be equal to V by R2 and I3 will be equal to V by R3. Voltage is constant, so we will write only V. Next step, what is common in RHS? V is common, isn't it? So if you take it as common, what will be remaining? That is, the equation will be like this. V by Rp is equal to V into 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. Now both the sides, that is LHS and RHS, we have V. So if you cancel that, what will be remaining? 1 by Rp in LHS. In RHS you will have 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. This is the equation to find the resistances in parallel. That is, the reciprocal of the combined resistance of a number of resistances connected in parallel is equal to the sum of the reciprocals of all the individual resistances. Now after studying the resistance in series and resistance in parallel, you should be knowing in which combination we will get more resistance and in which combination we will get less resistance. When you studied about the resistances in series, it was clear that the total resistance is equal to sum of all the individual resistances. So, resistance, when it is connected in series, the resistances will be more. And when a number of resistances are connected in parallel, then their combined resistance is less than the smallest individual resistance. That means the resistance will be less. Whenever you want less resistance, resistors should be connected in parallel. Now to understand this statement in detail, we shall solve a problem. Because the statement is given like this: when a number of resistances are connected in parallel, then their combined resistance is less than the smallest individual resistance. That means, for example, if 2 ohms, 3 ohms and 5 ohms resistors are connected in parallel, whatever total resistance the circuit will have will be lesser than the smallest individual resistance. In this case, which is the smallest? 2 ohms, isn't it? So the total resistance will be smaller than that. You will understand it clearly with the problem. We shall solve it now. Now consider this problem so that you can understand the statement easily. If 3 resistors of 4 ohms, 2 ohms and 3 ohms are connected in parallel, find the equivalent resistance in the circuit. Equivalent means total resistance in the circuit. Now before you solve, first do a rough circuit diagram like this so that it is clear that R1, R2 and R3 are connected in parallel. And what is the formula? I explained you all in the derivation, isn't it? That is 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3. How many ever resistors are connected? For so many you should write like this. Suppose if there are 4, what will you write? 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by R1 plus 1 by R2 plus 1 by R3 plus 1 by R4. So hope you all understood how to write the formula. Now we shall substitute the values. What are the values of R1, R2 and R3 from the question? 4 ohms, 2 ohms and 3 ohms respectively. So when substituted like that, it will be 1 by Rp is equal to 1 by 4 plus 1 by 2 plus 1 by 3. Now take the LCM for the first 2 terms in the RHS and simplify so that you will be getting 3 by 4. And the third term in RHS, that is plus 1 by 3, will remain as it is. Take the LCM again for 4 and 3 and simplify so that you will be getting 13 by 12. Therefore, 1 by Rp is equal to 13 by 12. But what are they asking you to find? They are not asking you to find 1 by Rp, isn't it? You should find the equivalent resistance. Equivalent resistance in this case is Rp, that is resistances in parallel. So how will you get that? You have found already 1 by Rp, which is equal to 13 by 12. If you reciprocate that, you will be getting the value of Rp. So Rp is equal to 12 by 13. When you divide this 12 and 13, that is 12 divided by 13, you will be getting 0.923. Therefore, the equivalent resistance is 0.923 ohms. Now I want you all to observe 0.923 and all the individual resistors connected in parallel. When you compare this with each resistor, every time you can see that 0.923 is lesser, isn't it? So you need not have to compare with all the three. Consider the least resistance used here in the question, that is 2 ohms, isn't it? So if you compare with only that, you will be seeing that 0.923 is lesser than 2 ohms. Dear students, you should also know this. We can't be removing the resistors and connecting them in series and parallel however we want, isn't it, in an appliance? So, we have an instrument called rheostat. Rheostat is a variable resistor which is used to control the current flow. It is also called as variable resistance. Most of the appliances will have this wherever the regulation of current is required. You can see the diagram here. Probably you must have observed this in our school lab also. It will be having 2 terminals and there are no any positive negativity in this. That means there are no polarities. Even if you reverse and connect, it is going to be the same. And how does this work? How is it going to regulate the current? When it is connected in a circuit, the current enters through one of its terminals and it will exit through the other terminal. Here we have copper wires. All these are copper wires which are wound like this. So here you can see a slider. So when you slide this, you are going to increase the resistance, and when you pull it back towards the first terminal whichever you connected, then the resistance will be less, that means current will be more. So in this way, regulation of current is possible. And what is the basic principle of this rheostat? The basic principle of rheostat is Ohm's law only. According to Ohm's law, we know that current is inversely proportional to the resistance, isn't it? That means R is equal to V by I, which means the current decreases as the resistance increases, or current increases as the resistance decreases. So you should be keeping in your mind, rheostat is a variable resistance which can regulate the current. And the commonly used places are volume control knob in most of the appliances, fan speed control knob, monitor screen brightness, headphone volume control, etc. In all these places, rheostat is used. Dear students, now it is assignment time. I want you all to make note of these questions and answer in your classwork. Hope all of you are writing the notes which is sent to you all. And also, you will be having for your FA1, that is your formative assessment 1 till here, that is 4 sessions of electricity. And the assignment questions are, why are alloys used as heating elements rather than a pure metal? Second one, which quantity remains constant when resistors are connected in series? If 6 resistors each of value 2 ohms are connected in series, what will be the resultant resistance? Try to find out the answers. As usual, the answers of these questions will be given in the next session. All the best to your test. See you all in the next session after your first round test. Thank you.